We're going to be talking about Necrovalley in this video, and I'm pretty sure everyone has heard about this. And but Necrovalley's got a buff. Necrovalley has its text recently changed. So the original text used to say all Gravekeeper monsters gain 500 attack and defense. That text didn't change. That's not going to change. It's going to stay there. Cards in either player's graveyard cannot be banished. Negate any that effect is also not being changed. That effect is not also being changed. Negate any effect that would move a card in the graveyard other than itself to a different place. So, for example, your opponent plays Call of the Haunted. They can't play Call of the Haunted. You play, I don't know, you play Zombie Master for some reason because you're playing that card in 2016. You can't do that because it's moving a card from the graveyard to a different place. That's not, and it's not itself. So the cards that did effect is like Paleozoics for the most part, Plex Spreader Zombie, Blackwing Zephyros, the Elite, cards that are still decently relevant, I guess. This card would not be affected. Those cards would not be affected by Necrovalley's effect. But now it's totally different. So the omission is negate any card effect that applies it to a card or two cards in the graveyard, which effectively means, hey, if you're playing anything that moves it from the graveyard, whether it's itself or otherwise, it's negated. It doesn't work. It doesn't play on that effect anymore. So you cannot banish your Paleozoics. You cannot grab that Plex Spreader. You cannot grab your Plex Spreader Zombie. You cannot grab anything that even if it moves itself in the graveyard, which is technically making it a much stronger card. And I think that's really relevant considering that I think Paleozoics is a very strong deck at the moment. I consider it one of the best decks of the format, or actually the best deck of the format, because it does have a high percentage win rate, and from what I've tested, it has a very high percentage. It's like upwards like 73 to 75%. It's pretty ridiculous. It's not a very big margin, and the deck really heavily relies on the graveyard and their cards being banished. So I think if since this card's being implemented as it is now, with the text change, Paleozoics could just ultimately be up and gone because of this. That depends. It really depends on the ban. Let's see what they can do to hit this deck. I don't think this deck's going to be terribly difficult to deal with. Just get rid of Totally Awesome and the deck is fine. But I don't think this card ultimately also inherently stops Paleozoics by itself either. Sure, it hurts, and your opponent is forced to play cards around it. They're forced to play the cards like Twin Twisters or MSTs. Just to mitigate the possibility of you having Necrovalley, which is kind of good for you because you're forcing them to play cards that they didn't want in their deck anyway. So that's kind of an upside to you. Which is pretty good. So anyway, guys, tell me what you guys think about this card text change in the comment section below. I'll see you in the next video. This has been Team Metamorphos, and I will be signing out. See you guys in the next video tomorrow. Later, guys.